Well, this guy I thought was just a ray of sunshine. I really liked him, and we thought we'd like to bring him out here to talk to you guys tonight. He's new to Hollywood, so he's going to give you a whole fresh perspective on an outsider's view of Hollywood. So please put your hands together for Mr. Hap Arden.
Get a load of me. On stage at a real Hollywood comedy club. I am gonna make it. Just last week I was working the checkout at Ray's Apple Market in Fairbury, Nebraska, and now look at me. On top of the world in Tinseltown. Boy, we had a heck of a bon voyage party at my Uncle Carl's house on Saturday night. My dad gave me a terrific pair of sunglasses because it's so sunny out here all the time. And my grandma gave me a copy of A Star is Born on DVD. Now, she knows I don't have a DVD player, but she says by Christmas I'll be living in a mansion on Sunset Boulevard and I can watch it in my home movie theater. Well, then the next morning I jumped on a bus. Why a bus? Well, folks, I don't have a fear of flying, but I do have a fear of crashing. And my grandma was once raped on a train. They were waiting for her in her sleeper car. Well, that bus dropped me off in the heart of Hollywood. Bright and early yesterday morning, and I didn't waste a minute. I jumped right in the cab and I said to the cabbie, "Mister, take me to the offices of the William Morris Talent Agency and step on it. I've been a nobody long enough." Cut to me, 9 a.m., marching into the lobby of that famous building. I went right up to the receptionist and I said, "Hey, how would you like to be thanked in an Oscar acceptance speech?" I handed her my picture and resume, which includes my star turn in the Main Street Players production of a chorus line, "Am I my resume?" I sang that to the receptionist. Now, folks, I might have just stepped off the bus from Nowheresville, but I know a couple of things about how Tinseltown works. I chatted up that receptionist pretty good, knowing that it was she who would pass my materials on to the top talent agents. So after a little while of talking, she assured me that my materials would not be passed along to the agents. Because, she told me, I needed film and television credits. Well, a lot of guys would have got down at that point, but not old Hap Arden. I walked out into the street, called a cab, jumped in, told the driver, "Mister, take me to where they're making film and television." Cut to me, outside the Judge Joe Brown show, slipping $20 to an audience handler. That's right, folks. Next week, on Tuesday and a Thursday, you will see me in Judge Joe Brown's courtroom paying really close attention to the legal proceedings. Well, as soon as we were done there, I hopped right back in a cab, right back to William Morris, right back up to my friend the receptionist, and I said, "Hey, I just got some TV work so fast I haven't had time to add it to my resume. Okay, if I handwrite it?" Well, she must have been at the end of a long, hard day because she told me that if I didn't stop wasting her time, her words, she was going to call security. But I told her how much this meant to me. I told her all about my Uncle Carl and the sunglasses and A Star is Born and what happened to my grandma on that train. And she told me that the way I was headed, I was going to end up in jail. Well, folks, I did get down at that point. I checked myself into the Mark Twain Hotel over on Wilcox, and I brought a couple of friends with me. A can of spray paint and a paper bag. Well, at that point, everything got real funny to me, but not to the management at the Mark Twain. To make a long story short, just as the receptionist at William Morris had foreseen, I did end up in jail. Things were looking pretty bad for old Hap Arden, folks, but they got a lot better in the morning because a nice stranger named Mr. Van Horn bailed me out of jail. He took me out and bought me breakfast, helped me wash the paint off my face, and then he took me to a beautiful building for a free personality test. Folks, you're not going to believe this, but it turns out I have a number of misunderstoods that are keeping me from moving up the bridge to becoming an operating thetan. When I asked Mr. Van Horn what an operating thetan was, he told me to buy a lecture series on tape for $3,000. I said, $3,000 in money? I don't have it. And do you know that he offered me a job right there on the spot? That's right, folks. Tomorrow morning, I will start my new job polishing a bust of L. Ron Hubbard in a beautiful building right on the Walk of Fame, where I've always wanted to be. And all I had to do to get that job was to tell Mr. Van Horn every little thing I've ever done in my life that I'm ashamed of. That took kind of a long time. I once threw a glass bottle at a polar bear at the Omaha Zoo. I once wrote an anonymous threatening letter to my math teacher that made her pack up and leave town. I once set off a bunch of fireworks at the VFW hall to remind the old soldiers what it was like to be shot at. I once put a rattlesnake in the ball pit at Jamboree. Back when I was a hospital clown, I tried to wake up a girl who was in a coma by having sexual intercourse with her. I once injected a syringe full of air into an old man's arm just to see if it would really kill him, and it did. I once trained a stray dog to attack Chinese people. I once dug up the body of a boy who had died, stuffed him with sawdust, and left him on his parents' front porch. As a warning. Once, me and a friend got on a train and waited in my grandma's sleeper car. And we raped her. Well, it felt great to get all that off my chest. So tonight I'm going to be sleeping on a cot in a room with 49 other starry-eyed dreamers. Folks, remember my name. It's Hap Arden. Keep an eye out for me, and please watch My Name is Earl. Good night, everybody!